Hi, everybody. I'm Ben Mankiewicz. Welcome to another edition of this month's TCM Spotlight. Each Tuesday night, I'll be joined by author and film historian Mark Harris, whose book, Five Came Back, inspired our programming this month. Welcome back, Mark.
Glad to be here.
For the next several hours, director John Ford will be our focus. And up next, a war drama he made just before joining the military. From 1940, it's The Long Voyage Home. Mark, John Ford was the first of the 5 directors in your book to sign up for the military.
Yeah, he's actually the only one of the 5 directors who went before Pearl Harbor, and he's the only one of the 5 who went into the Navy. Ford was really convinced, well before anybody in Hollywood was thinking much about it, that war was inevitable and that the involvement of filmmakers was going to be crucial. So in the year before Pearl Harbor happened, he actually created a kind of almost weekend gentleman's club of fellow filmmakers, cameramen, sound technicians, editors, to kind of train in simulating filmmaking under wartime conditions at sea. For instance, how do you develop movies and how do you shoot movies on a listing ship? And he imagined that if war broke out, this could be a kind of naval reserve unit. In fact, when war started, these guys ended up in the war doing exactly what he had trained them to do.
Ford is one of the 5 directors in Five Came Back. Who were the other 4, and what motivated you to write the book? What caught you about these 5?
Well, the other 4 directors, John Huston, George Stevens, Frank Capra, and William Wyler, all went into the Army. And what captivated me about these 5 was that these were 5 of the most important directors in Hollywood at the time. I mean, Huston was just starting out, but he'd started out with the Maltese Falcon, which is a pretty high place to start out. And the others were really well-established, in some cases Oscar-winning directors, well over draft age. They all could, if they wanted to, have sat out the war in Hollywood like many of their colleagues did. And I was fascinated by the fact that they went in. They really wanted to serve, even if it meant abandoning their careers in Hollywood for several years.
The movie that we're about to show, The Long Voyage Home, Ford made with a clear eye toward the future, sensing that America is going to get into this war. And this movie is made definitely with that thought in mind, correct?
Yeah, this was one of many movies that took a World War I story. It was actually based on 4 short plays by Eugene O'Neill that were written during the First World War, and kind of retrofitted it to be right for the Second World War. The movie is literally updated and is you know, so close to the mark in terms of what was happening that you'll hear a reference in it to the invasion of Norway, which is something that had happened just days before that scene was shot.
John Ford is most closely associated, of course, with Westerns, but this is closer to a quintessential John Ford story even than many Westerns.
I think that's true. I think this was very, very close to Ford's heart. It has great Irishness in it.
Yes.
You know, Ford was Irish, his family was Irish. He felt that O'Neill was a kindred spirit. It has his love of the sea in it. It has a great affection for the idea of men in close quarters, living with each other under difficult circumstances, which is something you see in Ford movies over and over again. So, yeah, I think what you're really seeing is, in this movie, distilled John Ford.
And quickly before we roll it, it stars John Wayne. I mean, he had just become a big star.
Right, and even though John Wayne didn't end up serving in World War II, which was the cause of some tension between him and Ford, he rose to fame during the war, often playing heroes of World War II. So it was an interesting wrinkle in their relationship that while Ford was serving, Wayne was gaining his first real degree of fame, kind of reenacting World War II.
Mark, thanks very much. From 1940, nominated for 6 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, here's The Long Voyage Home.